Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to our lovely shul on this warm Friday evening, the beginning of the holiday season. We hope you enjoy the service with us. I remind you that our sister congregations, Bet Menorah and Bet David, are joining in another hybrid service with us, and we hope that all congregants will enjoy our service. Just a reminder that all congregants in the synagogue are required to keep their masks on at all times, unless called to the bima to stand and read from the reading desk. Remember to sanitize before and after coming up to the bima. Please do not move sidurim from where they have been placed, and sit only where there are sidurim and chumashim ready and placed in position for you. Should anyone wish to sponsor a Shabbat service to celebrate a simcha or simply to support the congregation, please contact the synagogue office. We turn now to the candle lighting, and I invite Linus to officiate.
As these candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Blessed are you, eternal our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you, Linus. I now invite Rabbi from San Francisco to bring us greeting and Shabbat wishes.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you, Glynis, for the great beauty of your blessing and your voice. It is Shabbat, and we are looking at Shemot, so I do invite you to join me tomorrow morning for a Torah study, but it's kind of a special Shabbat for a lot of people around the world because it is also Christmas. And so I just want to say a tiny bit about the radical nature of Jesus's experience and teaching. Because, of course, as you know, Jesus was a nice Jewish boy. He was born to nice Jewish parents who came from an important line that originated with Judah, whose story we've been reading over the past few weeks. And in his capacity as a teacher, he was really quite progressive. I'm not saying in any way that we should become Christian. Please, I think Christianity left Jesus's teaching when the temple was destroyed. And I'll talk more about that in just a second. And I don't want to take too much of your time. But to know that what he said was indeed radical, but also not out of line with what we think. So I'll give you one example. At one point, he's walking, he's talking with his students, he's preaching. It happens to be Shabbat. They're going through a field and they're hungry. And so they start collecting grain and nibbling on it. And the rabbis at the time complained to him that he's breaking the law by having his students do this. And he says, but wait, maybe they were hungry. Maybe that was the only food we had. Would we deny somebody food on Shabbat just because we're not supposed to harvest? So yes, you can be prepared. And I am prepared, and we've got soup ready, and we've got vegetables that will be steamed, and Shabbat will not require that I harvest or that I cook or that I do any of these things. But maybe one can't always be. And so the question is that Jesus brings up is, what is the deep underlying meaning of the tradition? Is it there to be a law, or is it there to take care of people? And I think that in that way, we as progressive Jews use the law, maintain the law, hold the law, but also make sure that it does take care of people. The rabbis of yore say that even a completely treif item is available to a pregnant woman who needs nourishment. So you see, it's not outside our tradition. It's just a little on the radical part of our tradition. And I'll say that the whole approach to law shifts quite dramatically when the original Jewishly Christian community that was run by Jesus's brother James at the time when the temple was destroyed also was destroyed. And all of the surrounding little communities in Asia Minor who weren't Jewish, who didn't have connections with the temple or with the ritual, had to figure out, how are they going to take these teachings and make them meaningful? And that is really the shift that goes on. Jesus himself was radically within Jewish halachic tradition. And so while some of you may be celebrating with friends and with family tonight the beginning of this holiday season, the birth of this particular teacher who did in fact bring so much light into the world, as well as some darkness. I think most of us bring light and darkness into the world. Know that it has beauty and it has depth, and it is based on our tradition of taking care of one another. And so with that, I'm going to turn the bima back over to Reb David, and we will continue to welcome the Sabbath in the most holy of ways.
Thank you for that Shabbat greeting, Rabbi. Page 130, the Psalms. L'chun ranana l'Adonai naria l'tzur yishenu, nekadama panav b'toda, b'zmirot naria lo. Ki el gadol Adonai u'melech gadol al kol Elohim, asher bi'ado mecharei haaretz, v'hofi'a ot harim lo. Asher lo hayam v'hu asahu, v'yabeshet yadav yatzaru, v'hu nishtachave v'nichra'a, nivracha lifnei Adonai Oseinu, ki hu Eloheinu, v'anachnu am marito v'tzon yado, hayom im b'kolo tishma'u. On the next page, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, sing to God a new song. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, sing to God the whole earth. Shiru l'Adonai baruchu shemo, Sing to God, bless his name. Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Exalt his fame from day to day. And from there we turn to page 133. Mizmor, Shir Ladana Shir Chadash, Ki Niflaot Asa. The Eternal One is sovereign. Let the earth exult, the many islands rejoice. Dense clouds are around God. Righteousness and justice are the base of God's throne. O you who love God, hate evil. God, guard the lives of your loyal ones, saving them from the hand of the wicked. Light is sown for the righteous, radiance for the upright. O you righteous, rejoice in the eternal and acclaim God's holy name. You can see a theme which runs through the Psalms. This one is, the theme is glorifying God's power and the way he can affect us human beings and how we should react and do react in our day-to-day lives. And from there, we turn, please, to page 137. In this particular psalm, God's powers are extolled, his control over the animate and the inanimate, those creatures which are living, including animals, and those items in the universe which are stationary, immobile, inanimate, such as mountains. The voice of the Eternal One kindles flames of fire. The voice of God convulses the wilderness. The Eternal One convulses the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of God causes hinds to calve and strips forests bare. While in God's temple all say glory. The Eternal One sat enthroned at the flood. The Eternal One sits enthroned, sovereign forever. May God grant strength to our people. May God grant our people peace. Adonai orz li'amo yiten, Adonai varech et amo v'shalom, which takes us to our Shabbat welcoming of the Chad Odi, page 138.
Dodi לקראת קלה קלה, פני שבת מקבלה בלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת מקבלה בלה.
שעמוד זמוד בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
לשמו תפארת ולתפילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה קלה, פני שבת מקבלה בלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת מקבלה בלה.
לקראת שבת לאמור ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, בראש מקדם לסוכה.
סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. דודי לקראת קלה קלה, פני שבת מקבלה בלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת מקבלה בלה.
התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומיורי, אורי, אורי, שירה ברי.
כבוד אדוני לך נגלה. דודי לקראת קלה קלה, פני שבת מקבלה בלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת מקבלה בלה.
בואי לשלום אל
לכבודי לקראת כלה כלה, פני שבת מקבלה בלה, לכבודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה.
You may be seated. Page 140. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדיך. ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועליך, במעשה ידיך ארנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני. Let me pause there, one of my favorite lines. How great are your deeds, O Lord. A part of our giving thanks to God is remembering what He has done for us during the week gone by. Has God saved you from a situation in the week gone by? Has God helped you to achieve a goal in the week gone by? Has God been at your side? Have you felt Him there? Because He is there and available. We have to implement it. We have to make it happen. מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. איש בעל לא ידע, וכסיל לא יבין את זאת.
צדיק אתה יברח, כארץ בלבנון, בלבנון יזכה. שתוליד בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יבריחו. עוד ילובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו להשארת ישרת זורים ולא המלצה בו.
Page 141. Adonai malach geut lavesh, lavesh Adonai oz hit azar. Afti kon tevel bal timot. Nachon kisecha me'az, me'olam ata. Na'asu v'harot Adonai, na'asu v'harot kolam. Yisu naharot dochyam.
מקולות מים רבים, אדירים אדירים, משברי ים. מקולות מים
שמך נאמנו מאוד, לביתך נאווה קודש, אדוני לאורך ימים. Which takes us to the Chatzi Kaddish, page 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. אמן. בעלמא דברך חירותי בימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה בזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהלל 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 שני דקותשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן.
We turn now to page 149. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praised are you, Adonai, our God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadata. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, b'shachbenu v'kumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu, be'orech yameinu, u'vahem negei yomam v'alayla, ve'avadcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema is found on page 152. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'otecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha v'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ugkshartam le'ot al yadecha v'yuletotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvihisharecha L'mahan tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim l'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem mi'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Amen. We turn to the Michamocha, which we're getting to. We're so close. We're 3 weeks away. And, just as the story of the Exodus begins in the terrifying possibility of death in the water, of the complete annihilation of a generation of young people in Pharaoh's decree, so it ends in the redemption of that generation and all future ones in the non-dangerous waters, the surprisingly non-dangerous waters that form the canal through which the Israelites pass. And that is the song that we sing. How do you turn something that is potentially so dangerous you won't live through it into something that is so miraculous that life comes from it? Michamocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, גאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך.
With you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us the shelter of your peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 162. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל. אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת and rested. So in that holiness, in that moment of reaching back to the divine first Shabbat, we rise as we are able and join with the choir on page 164 in welcoming the ancestors into our circle of prayer.
Adonai, Sefatai Tiftachu fi Yagitei Latecha. Adonai, Sefatai Tiftachu fi Yagitei Latecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu, ve'Elohei Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עושה ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מזריע השמש ומוריד הטל, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה לך חיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. Page 170. אתה קדוש, ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. You set aside the seventh day for your name, the pinnacle of creation. Think about that. The pinnacle of creation, that the pinnacle of creation is not creating. The pinnacle of creation is seeing what happens after you're done creating, right? Admiring the sweater on your grandchild, going to the building where you were the architect and seeing it standing there, watching your beloved spouse enjoy a meal that you made specially for them. The pinnacle of creation is enjoying what you have made. And you blessed it above all other days, more sacred than all festival times. So it is written in your Torah. Take yourself back. Imagine that first Shabbat. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, רוצה במנוחתנו קודשנו במצוותיך ותן חלקנו בתורתך. צווינו מטובך ושמחנו בישועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעובדך באמת. והנחילנו, אדוני אלוהינו באהבה ורצון שבת קודשך, וינוחו בישראל מקדשי שמך, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
רצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל, ותפילתם באהבה תקבל, ותהיה רצון תמיד עבודת ישראל.
מודים אנחנו שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו לעולם ועד. צורכנו מגן אישנו אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך נספר תהילתך על חיינו ומסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקות לך, ועל נעשיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובתך שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, והמרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך, מעולם קיווינו לך. ועל כולם יתברך בתרומן שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד, וכל החיים ידעו סלע, ויהללו את שמך באמת, האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך לך לאל להודות. Page 178.
Shalom Rav Yisrael, Amcha tasim leolam, Ki atahu le'adon lechol hashayim.
holiness of that sound, let us bring our hearts and join in silent prayer for a moment. Whatever you wish to pray for, health, healing for the world, an end to oppression, good grades from one of your children, whatever it is. Take a moment.
Tomorrow we commence reading the book of Exodus in the Torah. As you know, Exodus is the second book in the Torah. Now we are all aware of the various historic events which took place in the book of Exodus. This actually follows a discernible pattern, so it will be helpful to one's understanding to have an overview of the contents of Exodus. Its prologue commences with the story of enslavement by a Pharaoh who was ignorant of what Joseph had done for Egypt. Enter Moses, who was given a mission to inspire his own people with the vision of liberation and confrontation of Pharaoh. Through a series of punishments, Pharaoh is demoralized, and eventually his own son dies, and his elite troops are wiped out in one swoop. The people of Israel set out in the Exodus for Sinai towards nationhood, their next goal. They constantly complain to Moses and Aaron, but are overwhelmed at the next event, the revelation of a code of laws followed by a covenant. And this covenant distinguishes our ancestors and allows our people all our people since then, for it binds us to rules that are manifestly just, but whose terms were unilaterally decided without our input. I'll return to this a little later. God then requires a sanctuary to be built for himself. So our history until then may be summarized in 3 parts, all quite logical and sequential. Number 1, the wilderness. The nation had to be isolated and refined in a desolate surround. Number 2, the covenant, a treaty entered into by the nation with the Almighty. And number 3, the Almighty is enthroned in a special structure and exalted and praised constantly. There are parallels between the aforegoing sequence of events and the practices and laws of other societies in the Near East in those times. Hammurabi, king of Assyria about 600 years before Moses, was a good example. I've read some of his laws. He tried to build a just society, and many of his laws confirm this. Many pagan religions required a splendid home to be built for their own deity. Our forefathers created a sanctuary and an abundance of verbal tributes to our God. And as our history unfolded, we celebrated with special events to commemorate. For example, first fruits. And so our people added to the prayers with thanks for those specific festivals. Prayer books, or sidurim as we know them, came to be developed over future centuries. The important development was the covenant. One writer described it as a suzerainty, which is a sovereignty, a fancy word for sovereignty, where we, as a vassal state, exchanged one ruler for another. That's quite a nice thought, quite a nice comparison. That's actually what happened. Politically, that's what happened. In return for abiding by the Almighty's rules of conduct, we would become as numerous as the stars in the heavens or the sand on the seashore. Now, I don't think we had much negotiating power. Think about it. What did we have to offer? Maybe the vision of Abraham of one God, which transmitted itself onwards, was the main redeeming feature. Maybe the Almighty picked us out of a motley bunch of nations. We'll never know. But the fact is, we were chosen, without a chance, actually, to comment on the terms or put forward alternatives. Would businessmen today find themselves in such a position? I don't think so. But we were there, and that's what happened. So, this little overview might help you to understand more widely what our forefathers went through to found our nation, to develop it to a level to enter Israel as the 12 tribes, and to give us the history which we have lived through to bring us, whether willingly or unwillingly, to today. Shabbat Shalom. We turn now to the Kiddush, page 122. And in your lounges and in your dining rooms, I do hope that you'll be joining me as we chant the Kiddush together. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן, אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו, ורצה בנו, בשבת קודשו, באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון מעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen. We turn now to page 586 for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצא לארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים עמה, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו עינות, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום לשבותה, לבניך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים עמם, ועל הארץ מתחתינו.
Page 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Love each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the land between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Page 593, reading number 2. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death, all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love are we comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. Page 597. We think at this moment of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, as well as those who passed away at this season in years gone by, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. In particular, we recall Barry Stransky, father of Alon Stransky, Ruth Lipson, mother of Julian Lipson, Frida Smith, mother of Karen Lobb. From Bet Menara in Pretoria, Izzy Giddish, father of Rodney Giddish, and Milton de Miranda, husband of Daniela de Miranda and father of Joshua. From Bet David in Durban, Louis Gold. We recall John Abra, who passed away recently, the brother of Lynn Raffaeli and partner of Lorraine Edel. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for blessing, as well as the memories of those many, many hundreds of thousands whom we lost during the Shoah and who have no one to say Kaddish for them. Think of them as well. Page 598, the Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadashem ha'rabah, v'yomah divrach yirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'meru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabam vorach, li'olam u'olmei u'maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'al v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, shmei dekudesha, barichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram bi'olma v'meru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'meru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'meru. Amen. Thank you to the congregants who participated in the service. Thank you also to all Bet David congregants who responded to the recent online survey. The results of this survey have been published in the latest Adkan. The synagogue will be open to congregants over the summer holiday period. Therefore, Shabbat services will run as usual, both with in-person and online attendance. If in the synagogue, please remember to sanitize and keep 1.5 meters away from others. Our Shabbat service tomorrow morning will start at 10 a.m. Once again, it will have a hybrid format, with congregants being invited to join us in the synagogue, while the service will be streamed as well via the usual YouTube link. Please note that the office is closed until Monday the 3rd of January, and in case of emergencies, please call the office number and your call will be directed to a staff member who will assist you. Our shul, Bet David Santon, is looking for a group of congregants willing to volunteer to perform shamas duties for the weekly Sabbath services. If anyone wishes to be a part of this team, please contact Glynis on 011 783 7117. We're also looking for volunteers to assist with the technical streaming of weekly services, initially to shadow the tech team while learning to use the OBS streaming platform. We wish all our congregants a peaceful and safe summer holiday. We conclude the service with the singing of Ein Eloheinu on page 626. Ein Eloheinu.
Ein Eloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Malkeinu, Ein Moshienu, Mich Eloheinu, Mich Adonenu, Mich Malkeinu, Mich Moshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atah hu Eloheinu, Atah hu Adonenu, Atah hu Malkeinu, Atah hu Moshienu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. We now invite Rabbi from San Francisco to bid us a Shabbat final blessing.
May the light of joy enter into all of your homes, into your hearts. May you be able to share this special time off with those you love. As the numbers from the pandemic fall, may we all join in health and in well-being to celebrate the beauties of creation. Yivarechem Adonai v'yishmerechem. Ya'er Adonai panav elechem v'chunekem. Yisa Adonai panav elechem v'yasem lachem. Shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shalom u'mvorach, Shabbat shalom, Shalom u'mvorach, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom.